Hi, my name is José Armando Núñez Villasmil. This is the last of the 5 videos on prompting essentials. In our next videos, we're going to go a little bit deeper, creating specialized assistants and AI agents, and then connecting everything into a workflow. However, as a wrap-up of all the structured prompting and all the change of thought that we have been seeing, it's very important that we talk about a big distinction regarding the models. As we talk, models are this collection of tunings and weights that filter our prompt and help the model to give better answers. However, the models are continually evolving and they differ greatly depending on the provider. Basically, the biggest distinction, or at least the one that most affects us, is the distinction between reasoning and non-reasoning models.
Reasoning models are tuned for deep thinking. With these models, it's not always necessary to outline each step explicitly. They typically illustrate their own chain of thought clearly, allowing us to understand how they have interpreted our prompt. Non-reasoning models are tuned for routine tasks. They often leap directly into the most plausible, or at least the first acceptable conclusion. For this, clearly structured prompts and explicit change of thought steps significantly enhance output accuracy and usefulness. Selecting the appropriate model for your task is critical to succeeding with AI.
Now we're going to go to different models that create images, voices, and video. But first, we need to ask to ourselves,
what is a prompting framework?
The distinction between structures and frameworks can be subtle and can vary slightly depending on the source. For effects of these videos, let's think of structured prompting as the grammar for a single prompt. The labels, the delimiters, and the step-by-step instructions that we do in a prompt to ensure that the model understands that request. A prompting framework is more like a reusable pattern, an overarching blueprint that specifies the composition, or at least what are the main elements that needs to be included into the prompt in order to be accessible for the model and be able to understand it in an accurate way. Before we jump into the text-to-image and text-to-video, text-to-voice models, I have to say that by far the main problem I see in people prompting into these models is the lack of technical knowledge. In an image or in a photography or in a video, it's very important not only describe the objects, but also the movement, the type of shot, the type of camera, lenses, lighting. If you are not savvy in these areas, don't worry. The way to approach to this is to set a chat as your prompt assistant, and then freely describe your images or describe your videos and request this chat to help you with the prompting to then feed that prompt back into another model. That would be my way to go around. However, if you are developing your own prompts, these are the frameworks that I recommend for these models. For text-to-image models, I recommend to divide the prompt in main subject, describing what is the subject and its characteristics, then the background and environment, and then the scene design, telling a little bit about the context and the story and the other elements interacting in the image. Finally, depending on your technical knowledge, you can add information like the type of shot, the art style or medium, the lighting, the color palette, and the quality and dimensions of the final output. In text-to-voice models, the prompts are usually the text that we want the voice to replicate, with parameters like genre, pitch, and tone set directly via the interface. However, if you need to put all the information into the prompt, I recommend to add a persona, signaling the gender, age, accent or dialect, and characterization, if it's happy, sad, surprised, etc.
And also the purpose of the voice, where it's gonna be used in the end.
For text-to-video models, the framework closely mirrors the image-based approach. The more cinematic the description is, the better the model is going to interpret it. I recommend to follow the structure of the image and describe the subject, the background and environment, but here it's very important to describe the actions and movement, talking about how the subjects interact between each other, especially how is the temporal progression that is going to affect this element across the whole video. Thank you very much. This is everything for this video, and remember that if you have any comment, any suggestion, you can always drop it here. We see us in a new video. Thank you very much. Bye.